Hi guys, in this video I want to talk with you about the difference between marketing and cognitive marketing. I get a lot of requests and questions from people asking me what is the actual difference between marketing and cognitive marketing? Is it just a different technique of your marketing strategy that you set up, etc., etc. So in this video I want to talk with you about every single aspect that cognitive marketing touches and the real difference on how we at 3C Strategy use cognitive marketing to grow the businesses of our clients sustainably, authentically, and confidently. And the term cognitive marketing might mean different things for different people, but in the way we use it, in the way we utilize it, it really is actually way more than only marketing. But in order to explain and give you the full context here on what the difference is, I laid out this representation or visualization of businesses and their response or their relationship to market and how the whole process of getting strangers basically or like how to attract strangers and turn them into happy clients look like. Usually at 3C Strategy, we only work with life coaches and life optimization coaches, and we use our strategies specifically for that industry. That has some value and company business mission reasons, but the concept and the strategy of cognitive marketing can actually be generalized. So in this video, I want to talk with you about it in a more general sense. As we can see here in the representation, we have the market and the competitors, and then we have basically two processes. One from the general market that uses, I would say, general marketing concepts to attract clients and turn them into long living clients. And we have another process that basically is similar from the touch points, but it uses cognitive marketing. And this could be you if you want to be a client or if you want to work with us, but we just differentiate it here for the sake of a good visualization. So if we start with the market, the general way of how businesses usually approach marketing is it starts with the brand positioning, right? So the brand positioning is usually broad because businesses, especially smaller scale service-based businesses, they want to capture more market share, meaning they want to have a bigger target audience. So for that, they have a very generic brand positioning and a very generic business positioning in general. What that means is, for example, and I stick in this video also to examples of life coaches, just because it is top of mind for my clients and I want to be as relevant for them. So if we stick to the example of life coaches, a lot of businesses that we start working with, they say, I want to be a life coach and I don't want to exclude anyone. Meaning that they are afraid that if they niche down too much, they're gonna repel a lot of clients and they don't get enough clients. So they stay broad and they stay generic. And that also is represented in the second pillar in the target audience. So basically they don't want to repel anyone, so they want to position themselves as life coach and nothing more specific. And they want to attract basically or work with everyone. They don't want to exclude anyone because they're afraid that their target audience pool might get too small. So for example, they want to work with every age group, every male, female, every income level, profession, ethnicity, you name it. They want to work with anyone. And how they do that, or how they think they can do that, is by offering them an so-called ER offer. It's a similar thing that other life coaches do, but they are faster, cheaper, better in whatever way or whatever that means. But basically what they offer is an improvement offer, which means that it's commoditized in the market because everyone else that is also a life coach does something very similar, but they offer a cheaper hourly rate, for example. So basically the main differentiator is the price, and then the service is kind of like explained in a different way. For example, you get 2 sessions instead of 1, or you get 90-minute sessions instead of everyone else that does 60-minute sessions. So it's small improvements or small changes, but then the main differentiator is the price. And then we get to the marketing side of business, and because the of the pillars that we talked about before, the marketing has to be very broad, because otherwise it wouldn't talk to their target audience. So we have a broad and generic business and brand setup. We have a very big target audience with a lot of different sub audiences, sub buckets, being it different problems, different genders, what we discussed, or different age groups, etc. So the communication has to be very broad, so we can address everyone in our target audience. And we have here like the big green bucket of the market where the potential dream customers are. And with that business setup and this kind of communication, we get a very specific response. And that response is very low. We get low engagement because we are unspecific and unrelatable. Everyone can communicate in a very broad and a very vague manner. And just think about it. If you scroll on social media and you see a post, it takes you a split second to decide if you scroll further or if you stop and actually consume that content. So if it's not relatable, or if it's vaguely relatable but very unspecific, and you don't feel like it talks directly to you, you scroll past. And that's exactly the problems that we see, or the main problem that we see when we onboard clients, is that they have very low engagement because they are very unspecific, unrelatable. That leads to high CPL, so cost per lead is very high, meaning it costs them a lot of money to acquire new customers. The value decreases usually after the transaction, because what the business setup inherently entails is profitability, because they compete on price. So they have very low margins because they have to be cheaper than everyone else. And with that, they cannot be very scalable, meaning that once they acquire new clients and it costs them already way more than they can afford, they have to decrease the value that they present or that they provide to the client, because they have to be busy again with onboarding more clients, or trying to get more clients, because they are so cheap. So they have to, the wheel has to keep on spinning. So basically, two outcomes as discussed. The market response is low, is negative. It costs them a lot to acquire new customers, and with that, their time is so consumed and their margins are so slim that they just cannot provide real value to their clients that they are able to onboard. The client response then is also very negative. They feel a lack of value. They feel unappreciated, because it's, at least if we stick to the example of life coaches, they really have big problems, issues that they want to solve, transformations that they want, results that they want, but with the lack of value that they experience, they just feel unappreciated and not treated in the way they want to. So it is a very unstable relationship with mediocre results, and most of the time no real transformation. And that, in the context of life coaches, means after a few sessions they just stop working. They say like, oh, I think I need some time, like let's schedule something for a few weeks, or like I'll get back to you, and that the relationship kind of fizzles out. Because they are unhappy, they have to look for solutions again, but their overall trust decreases. So they have less trust now. They enter the market again. They have less trust because they tried already something and that didn't work. So this is the general business operation side that we see when we onboard clients. Then on the other hand, and this is now where we talk about the cognitive marketing aspect, how we use cognitive marketing for every aspect of the business that touches or that is in relation to clients and lead generation. It looks like the following. So it's a very people-centered business setup. As we can see here, compared to the generic or to the rest of the market, where they have a revenue-centered business setup because they are struggling to survive and they need to focus on revenue, we have a people and a value-centered business setup. That means our positioning is based on the problems of our target audience. we choose a very specific niche, a sub niche. So we are not life coaches. We are, for example, connection coaches, life transformation coaches, or life event transformation coaches, positive mindset coaches, etc., etc. So we pick a specific niche, and in that niche, we are the expert, and we create our own little market in the bigger market. We have an authentic brand representation according to the positioning and the target audience definition, because we can be comfortable in our niche because we are the expert, and it's better to be the expert of a small market than trying to be mediocre in a big market. And this obviously directly impacts our target audience definition, because we niche down very specifically to the target audience that we want to serve, the target audience that fits our niche. And we define our target audience based on demographics, but that's actually more secondary. The main thing how we define our target audience is based on their pain points, their desires, and their subconscious needs. So that's really where we tap into the subconscious level, and those are things that sometimes not even our target audience is aware of. They don't really know what kind of issue they have, what the actual result or change is that they need in their life, what stories they have in their head, what keeps them up at night. So depending on how self-reflected our target audience is, some of them are somewhat aware of those, but we as the business owner, as a people and value-centered life coaching business, we define our target audience based on that. That, on the other hand, in the next step, creates or gives us the foundation to create a value-based offer. So we provide free value as a proof of work, so our future or our dream customers see already how we work and how our value, our knowledge, our expertise can help them solve specific issues. And then the offer is really tailored to clients, or to our dream customers' needs, desires, and pain points. What that means is that we present an offer that does not compete on price, that does not compete on the execution, but really on the transformation of our dream customers. And we are able to do that because we have expert knowledge in our specific niche. We are very specific, and we know our target audience on the conscious and subconscious level. That gives us the opportunity to create transformation offers or value-based offers, where we focus on the clients or the dream customers' outcome, the actual result, the tangible and realistic results that they want and they need in their life. And with that, we also set up a service range for continuously added value. So that means if we, for example, offer a 6 months transformation package for our client, we also have a let's call it aftercare package for another 6 months, where we maybe meet less often, etc., etc. But clients or customers can come back and are continuously served and provided with the highest value based on their needs and desires. So for now, this is the business setup. People-centered business setup with a clear target audience definition on the subconscious level and a value-based offer. And now we go into the cognitive marketing, where we establish authentic connections and build long-term relationships. And how? By talking to our dream customers exactly in the way we define them, because we know their pain points, we know their needs, we know their emotions. We can establish and create communication or marketing for exactly that talks exactly to our target audience in our specific niche. So whereas in the example, in the generic business and marketing setup that we talked about before, we were unspecific and unrelatable because we were too generic. Now we are not only highly specific and relatable, we also know how to address our target audience's emotions. We know how to address their subconscious mind. So oftentimes people start liking a brand, start liking a person or a personal brand, and in the first moment they don't even really know consciously how, because the subconscious makes the decision for them and then they justify it with logic. And because of that, we need to talk to our dream customers subconscious. And that is not possible with normal generic marketing. That is only possible with cognitive marketing, where we really address emotions, where we address specifically the subconscious of our dream customers. The usual market response that we get is very positive because we have higher engagement, because we are so specific and relatable. People engage more with our content, and usually the cost per lead decreases because we just get more traction because we are more specific and relatable. With that, this gives us higher profitability, higher revenue, and that enables us to continuously provide value, because our people-centered business setup also requires us, and to some extent, to continuously provide value and making sure that the client is really happy on a conscious level and even more so on a subconscious level. And because we build authentic connections and long-term lasting relationships, we are putting ourselves in a position where we form deep relationships with our clients, and they trust us, and they not just vanishing if they are unhappy. Even if there is a point in the relationship where they are not happy, they feel safe enough to talk about it and repair that relationship with you as a life coach in this example, before they actually offboard or leave. And with that, the holistic client success is much better and way more positive on a lot of different KPIs. Because the connection is stronger, they usually have more commitment because they just feel more happy and more, they feel more understood, and that results in more motivation and more commitment, and with that they achieve better results. The client happiness is generally higher because of all the points mentioned above, and this leads to real transformations. At the end of the day, for any kind of service-based business, but even more so, or also for life coaches, the transformation that the clients are going through depends a lot on their own commitment and willingness to transform, and that can very much be influenced and impacted by how we approach the relationship to them. Usually what that leads to is that the customers come back for more. That's why we have set up a service range with different offers where we can continuously serve that as they walk through or as they are moved through our different offerings. That's a very high overview of how we as cognitive marketing expert advisory use our cognitive marketing frameworks and strategies to really differentiate the entire business and lead generation process for our clients compared to normal coaches or other businesses in the market. I hope that makes sense. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.